dropping them weekly compared to Netflix, or like other streamings that they drop everything.
Apple TV is all weekly, 10 episode a show, 1 hour long episode. That's their format.
Yeah, so that's another upside about Apple TV that I like, is because they doing that helps us to do the content and actually discuss the show better than
of course,
a lot of other content like Disney Plus.
It's no fun to review shows that get dropped in one
just
shot.
in big old batches, and you're like, okay,
exactly.
agreed,
agreed, exactly. And
it kind of takes the something off of it. It's not as fun to discuss them. I'm saying I've done it, Radres, we've done it.
We've done it,
but it's not as fun.
We did it like a couple times. Sometimes it's really bad. Sometimes it's fine, but most of the time it's
you can do it with like stuff like Andor. You know what I'm saying? Because it just works. The show works with a schedule like that. It doesn't matter how they drop it. You can do it weekly, and it's like whatever. It's just really good television. So it's like whatever. It's Star Wars.
I speaking of Andor, I didn't recognize Ormans Hitchman. He was from Endor. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He was the guy that was Cassian's best friend from his hometown that, unfortunately
Tim.
Oh, Tim. That's right.
Andres, we're live, by the way, Andres. You could start. Awesome. You could actually, you can keep talking, but I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Well, let's stick with the Tim. Today, when I was watching, the finale of this show, I was like, that Hitchman looked familiar, and then I was looking at his Wikipedia, and I was like, Endor, and I was like, yes, it was Tim. Poor Tim.
Wow. I have to go back and watch that again.
It's a great show.
Did he survive?
No, Tim died in the season premiere of season 2. Remember?
No, but he died in the episode that we're covering tonight. He survived. He didn't
he survived.
No, he survived. I'm talking about his role in Endor. He died.
I know. I watched him die in Endor. I know that. I was there.
No, I was there too. I'm just. Anyway, I just want to bring that out because it drove me nuts this whole season. I was like, who was that guy? And because every time, we were talking about HBO shows and actors we recognize, and I was like, who is this guy? And I recognize him as, Tim from Endor. Another great show.
Tim was a very low-key character on Endor. He wasn't like a character that I really
remember.
He was okay. You know what I'm saying? All the casting on Endor was great. You know what I mean? Talk about good casting. Andor was really well cast.
It was. It was very well cast.
Yeah, it was. If anyone knows, Tim, Tim, was allied to Cassian, and then the reason that he died over that show, Endor, because who was it? That girl, was it Betsy? I forgot her name. The girlfriend that Cassian was with.
He died because he got fucked up. He got messed up with the rebellion, bro.
That's why, rebellion. Yeah,
that's why he died.
Well, yeah, that, but also was covering for Cassian and her because those annoying stormtroopers and the Imperial officer was annoying her, and then unfortunately,
but they wouldn't have been there if not for rebel activity and all that. You know what I'm saying? So he died because of the rebellion.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, whatever. But again, he died sadly. But he sacrificed himself. But anyway, so hello everyone. This is Andres, Pop Culture Guy.
He won't be the last really good friend that dies for somebody in a movie or TV show. Andres.
No, sadly, he
won't. That is true. Damn, that is so true. I know that. Oh God, that is so true. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's always a good sign of a good show, I have to say. But yeah, so yeah, we're here. I can't believe it. We're done with the House of Dragon season 3, everyone. And I will now go, I want to go round table to you guys, discuss your overall opinion about the season of House Dragon season 3. I want to start with you, Jocelyn, because you're the guest here. I want to kind of get your opinion about, what are your thoughts about this finale? Was it good? Did it live up to the expectation for you as a casual, TV viewer? And your thoughts on the season 3 as a whole, as a season. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you all for having me back. I love this finale. I had a good time. I love battle episodes. I need to let it sit with it a bit, but I think this is my favorite battle episode in this series thus far. As much as I liked the Battle of the Gullet, that was interesting. This one had sort of that sweet spot, the good mix between like the action, really getting like the massive, like large scale scenes. I loved Roddy the Ruin. Tommy Flanagan, I'm going to just call him Chips because if you watch Sons of Anarchy, that's who he was. And so I always think of him as Chips. He was just such a standout in this finale episode for me. But I like that it had that balance between like the big battle scenes, characters that you feel invested in. Everything with Orman was just hilarious. I mean, the whole smell sensitivity and all of the retching and being on the verge of vomiting. I cackled and laughed at all of that. And I like the character moments. Rhaenyra, you're going out bad. It's just a real bad, just Rhaenyra is just all over the place. But we got the good character moments in between too. So that for me made it on whole a really great finale. And I've had fun this season. You know, I know that people had issues with season 2. Again, like I said, goldfish memory. I barely remember everything from season 2. I had a good time this season from start to finish. It was just a good time. I still wish we had 10 episodes, but overall, I think it's been a great season. I can't wait for next season, although we have to wait another 2 years. But I thought it was a lot of fun. Great season, an excellent finale. I think this is my favorite episode of this season for sure.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I had to think about this finale as well. I agree about the battle. This battle was amazing. Definitely topped the Gauntlet one for sure. Yeah, Jeff, your thoughts on this finale and overall your opinion about season 3? Go ahead.
Yeah, season 3 was great. Eventually, when it finally gets its opportunity, it's going to get nominated for a lot of Emmys and awards. You know,
yeah.
Eventually, you know, sadly because of where it came out, it didn't make the cut for this year. So, but you know, it's a really great show. I mean, it's not Game of Thrones, you know, but it's for it being what it is, its own television show, you know, that's a sort of a spin-off of Game of Thrones, right? Essentially, that's what it is, right? You know, it's a great spin-off show, you know. I mean, it's got the same goddamn intro as Game of Thrones, so I mean, it's obviously a spin-off at that point, right? That's an obvious sign of like that clear spin-off, you know, logistics. But yeah, it still has that Game of Thrones feel to it, and that you know, really fun, you know, mid 1300s, 1400s European, you know, era of history, sort of, you know, of like King Arthur and knights and, you know, magic and dragons and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a great, you know, pocket of history to go back to and play with, you know, on film, I think, you know, depending on how you do it, you know, so yeah, season 3 really, really, really makes up a lot for season 2. I'll say that about season 3. It's really good. I mean, honestly, it's from episode to episode to episode across the board. Season 3 is very good. It's like very consistent episode to episode, which every show doesn't always have that. You know what I mean? Andres, we've seen it before a lot of times. How some shows can get up and down sometimes, you know, even ones we like, you know, can be, you know, inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the quality of their episodes across the span of, you know, a whole season. And that's one thing I'll say about Apple TV is that they run that risk with, you know, with their structure of that 10 episode, you know, 1 hour long structure of their shows that they're subject to their shows, unfortunately, being hit or miss at times. You know what I'm saying? You know, in terms of, you know, they can be a little inconsistent. It's hard to stay really, really solid but make really high-end, good television that's entertaining across 10 episodes and make it work episode by episode by episode. Not every show can pull that off. You know what I mean? That's, you know, You're asking a lot, honestly, for a show to actually make that happen weekly, week in, week out. That's what makes shows like Andor so good. It doesn't matter that it's Star Wars. It can be anything. You know what I'm saying? It can be fucking Marvel. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, or whatever. You know what I mean? It can be anything. It could be a book or some shit. And it's great. It's just great television. You know what I'm saying? To watch, I think, sadly, due to being on Disney Plus and being a Star Wars show, a lot of television watchers didn't watch Andor. So they'll never even know how good it really is. Honestly, who will tell them? You know what I'm saying? It's very much kind of buried there over there on Disney Plus, but it's great. I don't want to go on a tangent about it. You know what I mean? But, look, we get together every week to talk about television. We're here to talk about the House of the Dragon, right? I can't help it if, the conversation inspires, a dialogue about, other platforms and, other shows and things like that. And, I think, it's fun to discuss high-end television shows with other really good TV people like Jocelyn, obviously, too, it's very inspiring. You know what I'm saying? Hanging out with other creators is always inspiring like that. But it's unfortunate. That's one thing about television that's changed that I miss about television that we talked about before, Joss, earlier.
Yeah.
I miss that old-fashioned aspect of if you make a really good television show, at some point in your run, a lot of people are going to watch it. That's how it used to always work. You know what I mean? Like, people would catch up eventually, like Seinfeld, with Friends eventually, got crazy, even though it wasn't really all that great, honestly, let's be fair to Friends, you know what I'm saying? That's one show that got nominated a lot for a lot of Emmys, but honestly, I think a lot of it was just the popularity of the show. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those actors and actresses never did shit in film. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. Other than Jennifer Aniston, who's honestly, her film career was hit or miss. It was not,
not very consistent.
No, it was very hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? She just got a lot more opportunities than the other actors, did. You know what I mean? People like Lisa Kudrow, she's really talented,
She is.
But she never got the chances that like Jennifer Aniston did with film and, even with television, she's great.
She is. She's excellent.
Yes. Every time they give her a show, they're usually good.
She knocks it out of the park. I love the comeback. I think she's amazing on the comeback. Yeah. I love Lisa Kudrow.
She was always my favorite friend. I never really liked Friends, but I liked her.
Yes. She's a very likable character. And I think it's great that you mentioned Andor because, listen, House of the Dragon has ended. Folks need something else to watch now because we're kind of in that spot where the fall stuff hasn't come out yet. It's still, we got a few more weeks before the new stuff. So this is a perfect time. Go get that Disney Plus, crank it up and watch Andor.
Yeah, of course we encourage people to watch other shows and stuff like that, through doing these shows and stuff like that and talking about these topics. Andor is great. That's all I'll say. It's just a really great show. And again, it's a show where if it had come out in the 90s, a lot more folks would have watched it, probably. You know what I'm saying?
It would be like a cult. It'd be like Firefly. It would be one of those shows that has a deep cult following that people love. You're absolutely right. Because it would be on someone's network TV, and it would be appointment viewing because we'd have the access where you don't have to have a streaming service to access it.
Even the marketing and advertising of television shows now is totally different in the industry. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. Everything's changed. You know what I'm saying? Every aspect of television is different now, So even that element is different. I'm sure the industry is different too now. You know what I mean? Than it was in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was probably a lot simpler back then. You know what I'm saying? Now things are a lot more complicated. So it's unfortunate. Again, the House of the Dragon has the benefit of being on HBO. So again, there still are a lot of folks out there that have cable. Say what you want. Cable's cable. I don't have it, but I don't like to put it down because I think cable's actually a great investment. At times, honestly, being on HBO, I feel like a lot of folks are probably ending up watching House of the Dragon. Which is great. You want to see people watching, really great shows that you watch. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, that was the fun thing about Game of Thrones. because everyone watched it. It's the water cooler aspect of it, where it's just so ubiquitous. So many people watch it. You go to work, people are talking about it. People that don't watch anything else on TV, they're watching Game of Thrones.
A lot of podcasts were created for the House of the Dragon because of the time it came out. You know what I'm saying? And podcasting and all that time, because of the time period, it worked out to where, as opposed to Game of Thrones, where the podcasting was so new then. Right. When it came out, and there were very few actual original Game of Thrones podcasts. House of the Dragon has tons of House of the Dragon inspired podcasts that either made it till now or didn't or whatever, but they made them. They're there. Believe me, I've talked to some of the creators, to get them out here, and and they're hard to get a hold of. But a lot of them lined up to cover and watch the House of the Dragon. It was very well covered. I'll say that about it. A lot of creators covered the House of the Dragon. There's a lot of people who do recaps and stuff like that for this show. It's very well covered. Again, does that really, connect to viewership or ratings? Or no, it doesn't, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of weird reasons that certain creators cover certain shows and stuff like that. I mean, honestly, it's very different from person to person, from creator to creator. You know what I'm saying? Especially with how fragmented everything is with streaming now. Right. I'm shocked when I see certain people covering certain shows, at times. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, wow, you're covering from. You know what I mean? Like, wow, nobody watches or covers from. You're doing it? Wow, like, good for you. It almost makes you interested in makes you want to watch the show, kind of. When you see other YouTubers and stuff out there making recaps for shows like that. That's actually how I find out about some TV shows that are kind of obscure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. New content creators. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. There's a very niche group of creators that cover Apple TV. They're out there. But yeah, season 3 is great. Great job delivering the consistency with the episode lengths in season 3. Every episode was an hour plus. When you tack on the credits and the extended peak in the episode, this episode, and then the peak in the last episode, making the last episode, and all that they give you. Every episode's been an hour plus, all through season 3. Episode for episode. I love that. I'm very much with that. I think HBO shows are better when they're like that. Personally, in my opinion, in my experience, when they are a full hour, 55 minutes. An hour and 5 minutes per episode for a whole season, those are usually great seasons of television. You know what I'm saying? Something about it, that sweet spot of making that hour-long episode, The Sopranos always did that. They delivered hour-long episodes week in, week out, And they're never boring. They're always entertaining, And that's why they were so celebrated. You know what I'm saying? It's a great show, HBO is still kicking ass, man. They still do really well award-wise every year. They still get a lot of Emmy nominations every year.
I mean, they've got a blockbuster with The Pit that, folks love. That's done very well.
The Pit is like an Emmy baby.
It's a darling now.
The Emmys loves The Pit.
Yeah.
Every season of The Pit gets like 26 nominations for the Emmys. Gotta be good by that. You know what I'm saying? In all honesty, say what you want about the Emmys. When they give a show 20 something nominations or something like that, and then you watch it, they're usually decent shows. It's not like garbage. You know what I mean?
Right. There's some that have been overlooked, and I'm just like, how could you have not nominated this show for some of the stuff that it did? But the things that you don't look at the things that are nominated and think, man, that was trash. It's like it's all good TV. It's all very good.
I assume the shows that they nominate heavily like that must be watchable, entertaining shows. You know what I'm saying? Whether I watch them or not, you know what I mean? I may not find them in my wheelhouse or whatever, but I'm sure there's a reason why other folks do. Obviously, right. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And some people watch shows that get Emmy nominations. Like there are folks watching these shows, or they wouldn't get the nominations.
Right.
But I mean, in all honesty, shows like that restaurant show on FX, The Bear,
Yeah.
I'm sure I would never watch The Bear because it's not my thing, but I'm sure it's probably a great show. You know what I mean? It seems like the theme of it seems really great, and I can see if it's really well cast. I'm sure it's highly
the cast
entertaining.
is excellent. Yeah. I watched the first 2 seasons and really liked it. I haven't gone back to finish it out. I will at some point, but I agree. But then when I think about, for me, like The Wire is one of the best series that I've ever watched. Not a single award, barely nominated for anything. I don't know if David...
The Wire really flew under the Emmy and award radar. It did not get, unfortunately, for some weird reason, did not get nominated for anything really at that.
I just assumed, I'm like, David Simon, who did you piss off? Because it was just objectively one of the best shows. It was some of the best performances, and no love. I cover Interview with the Vampire on my podcast, and I feel very passionately about that show getting more recognition.
Let's
be fair. Even shows like True Detective, where it did get the 2 actors did get nominated, that show did not get like 20 Emmy nominations or anything like that. It did not
but they got some. I'm talking about The Wire not getting
nothing.
It doesn't line up with the whole, general opinion on The Wire being overall one of the best television shows.
Right. No one ever argues to the contrary. I mean, I'm sure some people do, but yeah, that was like, there has to be something else at play here that I just don't think we had privy to, because it's astonishing that it gave more recognition.
I think as highly nominated an Emmy darling as The Sopranos was, at that time back in the day, HBO shows were not an automatic with the Emmys. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, for whatever reason, would just be too heavy or too gritty or too adult almost. You know what I mean? And they just would not catch with the awards. You know what I'm saying? Or with the street. You know what I'm saying? The Wire was not a highly watched, well talked about show when it came out. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think you're right though, with maybe the earlier seasons, but by the time The Wire ended, it was so much in demand that HBO would release episodes the Thursday or Friday before the Sunday viewing, and people would watch it and already be talking about it. I think by the time it ended, it had absolutely caught on in popular culture and people were watching it. But I think you're right. The earlier seasons for sure were probably slept on and maybe didn't get that much traction. But this is still a 9 p.m. Sunday night HBO show. People are watching it, if for no other reason, because it's their tradition to watch HBO on Sunday nights. I still think there was something behind the scenes, because it makes no sense to me.
I think HBO shows were so elite for so long and for so many years until streaming, till the new where we're at with TV now, and how we're in this new era of television now, to where things are more equal between the studios and the different producers of the television. You know what I'm saying? At one point, HBO was the only place where you could find high-end adult television. You know what I'm saying? That was the source. And, unfortunately that hurt them, I think, with some of their shows, I think, it's easier for them now to have a show like The Pit come in and get a lot of Emmys, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I think that back then it was probably a little bit harder, but, there's been a lot of shows that did not get the acclaim, that were really good. You know what I mean? That's not the only HBO show that ever, unfortunately, had that happen.
No, I just think it's one of the more criminal oversights. I think there's plenty, like Rome, excellent show. I would have nominated Rome for all of the awards. So I agree. There are other very excellent shows that HBO offered that didn't get the same critical acclaim, but I do think there is something quite egregious about The Wire. And it's not saying that it needs to get 20 nominations, but there are just some performances, like Michael K. Williams as Omar. There's not been a character to date that has been as dynamic and well acted and well written. And it's, to me, I'm just like, you don't have to nominate the show for everything, but you couldn't find one performance to throw in. You couldn't.
Again, I mean, I don't want to have a discussion about the Emmys, because at the end of the day, I'll never understand. None of us will ever understand the minds of why people actually, get, just like the Oscars. Why do they actually give these nominations to certain films or certain shows? It's like, why? We don't know. You know what I mean?
Even the Oscars over time will give it to you. How many times has someone gotten an Oscar and everyone said that's not even their best performance? But even the Oscars will eventually say, you know what, that person's overdue, and they'll give it to them.
I don't know about that.
I think I would.
Sometimes.
I would argue Denzel Washington's an excellent example, because to think that he got an Oscar for Training Day and not at least 5 other films where he had excellent performers performance is weird.
That's a very broad conversation. I don't want to get into that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so
okay.
much.
We were talking about Emmys, but can we get back to House of the Dragon? Let's talk about what we're supposed to talk about.
I don't want to get too far off field because I could go on and on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's talk about the dragons.
Yes.
Please.
It's fun. It's a fun conversation. Don't get me wrong, but I guess the last thing I'll probably say about the House of Dragons season 3 is just that again, it's very, very great television. The show really bounced back. Now it has sort of that whole like kind of pancake deal where it's got a season sandwiched in between two great seasons now, where it's like sort of subpar. The show, unfortunately, you know what I mean. That's sort of like the trajectory of it, kind of. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying. Again, say what you want about season 2. I'm sure there probably are folks out there who would say and have the opinion that it's actually not that bad, or don't think it was all that rough. I think it was, unfortunately. It just did not land like season 3 did, or season 1. You know what I mean? I still think season 1 was like super, super, super high end. Like high-end acting, like totally fucking high-end everything, like just the production was just totally, on tens, like the show really worked well in season 1. I have a lot of after this finale and after season 3 of the show, I'm very optimistic about the final season, as far as what kind of quality we're going to get for that final season, I know it's going to be, totally high end, totally entertaining, and very rewarding if you're a fan of the House of Dragons, what I'm saying, which I am, a fan. Unfortunately, it's one of those shows where I've never thought about buying a poster or a t-shirt or anything like that for the show, but I do very much like watching it. It's very much like something I get transfixed on when it comes on every week, and very much get into, and I have my favorite characters and stuff like that too, where I'm going to be very sad seeing certain people die at the end of this and all that. I'm going to be a little bit apprehensive watching the final season, knowing that a lot of really fun characters are going to die, but unfortunately that is the reality of TV, and movies, right? It happens. And that's unfortunately the reality of the George R.R. Martin verse, is that everything you watch, you go into with his stuff, knowing what's the fates of all the characters and the story and everything. It's already there. Whether or not you want to go out and find out about it is up to you, but it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the reality of having the book aspect of the whole deal. But my last opinion on that is that I have read a Game of Thrones book before, and I will say they are extremely good. In terms of that discussion, they are very much like a lot thicker and bigger, and the story's a lot wider, and the scope's a lot wider when you read one of the books than when you watch the show Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think what's so great about the Game of Thrones books in particular is because you have the POVs of the characters. It's how, the chapter, it's a Cersei chapter, it's a Jaime chapter, it's an Arya chapter. So you can really get into their headspace. House of the Dragon is interesting because the source material is Fire and Blood, which is basically a history book that's compiled by a cross-section of what I would call unreliable narrators. And so it has been interesting from a show adaptation point of view, how the show has kind of taken a definitive stance on certain things from the source material that we really didn't know whether or not, did it happen this way? Is this person a reliable narrator? And what's fun about what Ryan Condal gets to do with the show is say, okay, this is how it's going to happen. Book interpretation be damned. You've like I said, you've got a cross section of unreliable narrators. Some of them were Team Green, some of them were Team Black. And I love stories told by unreliable narrators. So it's been fun to watch the adaptation and what threads of these different narrators they've chosen to weave into the show. So yeah, but the books are great, both of them, whether it's Fire and Blood or the Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire series.
That was all that was it, Andres.
Sorry. Watching another crazy Netflix show. Anyway, speaking of The Wire, I don't want to stick it the conversation as Jeff said before, but I was curious about the nominations. So just like I did with Sci Film, like the shows that they got the recognition. You guys brought up The Sopranos. The Sopranos got the recognition, but you have to remember Lost came out around this time when the first season came out. 24 was the big one. The West Wing was like that big one that took like
it was a power. It was a juggernaut. Like all of the nominations.
Yes.
Yeah.
The West Wing was so well nominated by the Emmys that literally almost every member of the cast at some point in their run got an Emmy nomination. You know what I'm saying? Literally every member of their cast did, which is crazy.
Yeah, which is no, I understand. And just the last year that The Wire came out, what was, let me just check the timeline here. I think 2008. Yeah. So it's crazy. The final season came out in 2008. The shows that got nominated for drama series was, well, first off, Mad Men. The first season came out in 2008. It won for the drama series. Then the other nominees that got into that 2008, we got the fourth season of Boston Legal, Damages. That one, oh my god, the Clint Close and Rose Byrne show, amazing. First season was nominated for that. Dexter, season 2, House.
Sorry.
Yeah, and and Jocelyn. I mean, you brought it before, and I think I saw this in my notes here. I think it was just that this show was based on, apparently, I think, Jeff, you brought it before, the grim subject matter about the show was really the factor that it never got the recognition.
I know, because a show about the mob is so grim, but that wasn't a barrier. But I'll let it.
No, I'm with you. I don't understand that because like that first off, that doesn't make sense. Like you're nominating a show, aka The Sopranos, that is about the mob. Because it's set in a location that people know about, is in New Jersey, where that's another factor. They say because the series lacked the connection with California. That was the other big reason that they say that it didn't get nomination, because of.
What are you talking about, bro? The Sopranos was an Emmy's darling. It was nominated constantly. What are you talking about?
You're saying that's the rationale.
Yeah, that was the rationale. I'm sorry. Thank you, Jocelyn. Yeah. I'm just talking about the rationale was the grim subject matter, which was kind of pardon my French, bullshit, because like The Sopranos.
I just don't know what you're talking about though.
The Wire. The Wire.
The Wire. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. With unfortunately that's the thing about HBO.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but
again,
it doesn't hold up. I'm sorry, Andres, keep going, because I think we're making the same point.
No, we're in the same point here, and this is kind of stupid. Wrapping up the Wire thing is because apparently, a lot of shows, when they're connected to like a area, they're fine to nominate them. Either it's in California or like New York or New Jersey, whatever, they're fine with that. But because the series, the Wire, was filmed in Baltimore, which again, I don't know how big their like Academy television and movies were that big there at that time. That could be the factor why they were never nominated for a Primetime Emmy. Yeah, and they have been nominated for a Primetime Emmy, but it was only for writing. Nominations for 2005 and the last season in 2008. Jocelyn, go ahead.
I would love to ask the folks that did the nominations if in hindsight, if they feel any differently, because some of those shows that you mentioned do not age well or hold up the way that The Wire did, and you wouldn't have known that at the time. But I would love to know, hindsight's 2020, if they still feel as passionate about. I don't want to knock Dexter, but when you think about how Dexter ended, or Damages, or these aren't terrible shows, but it's like in hindsight, like when you think about the cultural zeitgeist and what's had more of an impact long term, which is not the criteria, but it would be fine in hindsight. But to bring this back to House of the Dragon, it will also be interesting to me to see if we feel any differently about season 2 when we get to the end of season 4. It's so funny that, season 2 is knocked because, yes, to bring this back to The Wire again, people hated season 2 of The Wire when it aired because they were so used to a certain set of characters, and then this in season 2 kind of focused on the docks and the union workers, and at the time it felt like this, whoo, why are we going in such a different direction? But when you go through the whole series and get to the end, it all made sense. It was all connected, and it's like, okay, season 2 holds up so much better now that I've seen the whole series. I don't know if season 2 of House of the Dragon is going to feel the same, but I will say when we get to the series finale of season 4, I do plan to go back and do a rewatch to see if I feel differently about narrative choices and things that happen in season 2, to see if I feel a little bit better about it than I do where things stand right now, which I'm on the same page with Jeff. Season 1, spectacular, amazing. Season 3, spectacular, amazing. Season 2, not bad TV. I was entertained, but it really stands out as sort of the weak spot sandwiched between 2 very excellent, amazing seasons of television. And it'll be interesting if maybe we're all a little bit kinder to it once we see the whole thing and how it ends.
That's gonna happen. Is the whole chapter of this to be concluded, because that happens with a lot of chapters and trilogies or franchise when you don't see the completed like journey of this this aptly titled the dance of the dragons. So I kind of with you. I'm with you guys. I don't mind season 2, but like just like the Wire season 2 with the Greek storyline, I didn't mind the slow pace of season 2.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it as well. But with this season, I think this season made season 2 better because of the character development we had with some of the characters that we like, which we'll get into, because now I appreciate some of the decisions we have here. Like I like how like especially the relation, like we were lukewarm about the white worm and like the relationship, but now it's like, well, like that was a kind of great twist what happened to it this week. And Damien, like his part like in season 2 reflected on season 3 in a weird way, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, before we get into the recap, I want to say just my part. I love season 3. I thought it was a major improvement on season 2 because of the pacing. I think this show had really great. Well, first off, I think the focus of this season kind of was similar. Like we're talking about The Wire because I think this is what happened with The Wire. Like people like season 3 of The Wire because we got back to the story on I forgot the gentleman, the drug lord.
We got back to Avon, Stringer. Yes. We got back to the folks that we met in season 1. Yeah.
Yes. So we like it's kind of like this season. This season, people wanted to see the battle of the dragons, and the seeing finally Rhaenyra taking over the King's Landing finally after, what happened with first season and then season 2 trying to get all the pieces together and all that. That was rewarding this season to see Rhaenyra like take up the queen and the King's Landing, but but not in the state that she kind of wanted it to be. And then I agree with Jeff here. It's always the case with the seasons I don't like. Is always the pacing and the hour of these shows are always driving me nuts. And this season, compared to last season, I thought that the hours were decently enough to tell the story they were telling of this 90 episodes. I agree with you, Jocelyn. I do want my 10 episodes, but I think I didn't feel like that this season. It felt like a complete journey. It felt like a complete vision of what the showrunner wants. I want to be a little like nice to the guy because his partner left in like after season 1 came out, so he had to take over this whole big show on himself. And so I don't blame him what he did in season 2. So I think he learned a lot of the mistakes from season 2 and learn how to like overcome that this season, which he did, which I'm happy to report. This was a great season, and I thought that was the big part. Also, the acting was the best part about this season. I mean, oh my god, like we'll get into it. I mean, everyone was just hitting their marks so well. Like Emma and Matt Smith together were
Amazing.
amazing. One of the best performances. I hope she gets nominated and Matt as well. Like Matt Smith needs to be nominated. Like his performance this season was like amazing, and it cover up last season because he wasn't in much of, I think, season 2 because he was over
He was over
like
in Harrenhal on that
Harrenhal,
side quest.
that's
Yeah.
like yeah, and the kid, the guy who played Aegon, this was his best season. Like
Oh,
we're
Tom Glenn Carney is
so
amazing as
yeah,
Aegon. Agreed.
Aegon,
Yeah.
yeah. I just love this episode. Like last episode, it was like so crazy. Me and my mom were looking at ourselves like, God, he has his dragon back. And then this week episode, we'll get into when he meets his brother. It was like, what the hell? He's more confident than even before. I just love that, and yeah, it was just a well done season, and I think they hit the mark well. So I'm very confident, as Jeff said before. I think the finale of this show is going to be in a better shape than Game of Thrones was, and I got late into the Game of Thrones. I like this show more than that show because this show has way more control of their storylines and characters than that show because they had a lot of more material than this. I guess this book that's based on the Fire and Blood, whatever. But that's here and there. But anyway, so let's get into the recap, guys. Speaking of Aegon, so of course, Rhaenyra has learned the fact that Aegon survived, and but most importantly, Sunfire survived. Let's be specific about that because that was kind of crazy, and we seen and during this episode. By the way, they haven't had the full page of the Wikipedia of this episode, so I'm just going on like how out ordered it is, which is annoying. We see in this episode she becomes more ruthless, and something I appreciate about this season is that we're getting the proper man queen that the original show failed to do,
Oof,
and
yeah.
that was something I was loving this season, and you see that especially that like she detains Bela, which I love that scene. The fact that she calls her out, "This is your fault," and then the audacity that Rhaenyra did, the queen, like hold her chin up. I was like, "What the hell? This is your stepdaughter." I was like, "What? What are you doing?" She was telling you the truth, what you were doing. And then, oh, this one was the biggest burn. Like, you know how you were trying to, like George and Seinfeld was trying to make that joke to that guy in his office. It's like, this is the joke, the burn joke I wanted to tell. The biggest burn was the White Worm getting dismissed. It was like completely. I was not expecting that, but I was happy. You guys were probably happy about that. I was like, "Whoa, what happened? What the night of making love wasn't good like last time, or like what?" I was just like, "Wow!" And then, oh my god! And speaking of performances, I do want to give a shout out to the actress that played Helena. Like she had a great performance this season. I really like her chemistry with Allison. Um, she just she can see through Renea, and I didn't like that she got force fed. That was not
Oh,
a good I
yeah.
just yeah, that was pretty awful. And then and I will probably stop at this part. She later has Alan to kill the high septon in the church, which I was like, what the hell, after he refuses to annoy her. And and then after that, this is where I'll probably stop in the recap. Renee tells the small folk of the prophecy that Aegon the Conqueror's dream, stating that she is the prosperous to rule. And let me stop there. Just what are you guys' thoughts about this beginning? And I'll start with you, Jeff. Let's get with that.
Yeah, it's great. The whole episode's great. Doesn't matter what section it is. From
Yeah,
start to
yeah.
finish, it's a great finale. They really came through. When I saw that hour and 15-minute long episode length right off the bat, I was like, great. Like
Hmm.
it's a good sign for the episode. And it was. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to delve too heavily back into the award conversation, but yeah, Emma Darcy's acting is just like on like another almost like level this season. It's like I don't know, like I'm not sure what kind of career she's gonna have after this show's over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? She's a very quirky person. You know what I'm saying? In real life, you know what I mean? And like I'd imagine a very quirky actress. To work with and deal with and everything. You know what I mean? Seeing sort of like weird sort of if you ever watch how she dresses and she's like I think she's like a lesbian, you know what I'm saying? I
think they're gender fluid. She goes by they them. So yes, and so you do see that. They're not. They're not.
You hit it on the head. She's like a non-binary, gender fluid type person or whatever, which is again very out there. Let's be honest. It's a very bizarre move. To go. So she's crossed that line. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. Again, I mean, she's great in this character. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just totally kills it in this character. Overall, in television, like, beyond the scope of this show, her career, I don't know how well she'll do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she may be a little bit, like, almost too perfect for this character. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how well she would suit just any general television character out there. She doesn't have that sort of acting skills, I don't think, where she can just sort of slot into a show. You know what I mean? Some actors have that ability. You know what I'm saying? They can kind of jump from show to show and kind of, change their acting, like at whatever level of it, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's HBO or regular TV, you know what I'm saying? They can handle it. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys understand what I'm saying, they have that sort of, multifaceted ability. You know what I mean? As talented as Emma is in this show, I just don't know if she'll be one of those actresses that will actually go out there and land another role like this again in her career. I don't see it. I don't know if it'll happen for her. Is my thing. I could be wrong though. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not an expert when it comes to acting, so I don't try to pretend that I am. But I'll say again, she's killing it in season 3 of House of the Dragon, and for sure she's a shoo-in for an Emmy nomination. Whether she'll win, I don't know. Probably not, to be honest with you. Kind of based on how the show was treated with the first season, you know what I'm saying? I don't think she'll win, but she'll get nominated, I'm sure. It's almost kind of impossible not to notice her in this show. She stands out so much, more than any other character in the show. You know what I'm saying? It's very much her show this season, which I'm loving. She's a great facilitator of the show. If you're going to have one person sort of be the totem, she's a great person to be in that role. You know what I'm saying? The show works well around her. You know what I mean? At least I feel that way. I like the feel of the show when it's like that. Of course that could change in season 4, right? We know there's going to be a lot of changes, right? But yeah, I mean, in terms of the rest of this section, I guess I was very shocked that Rhaenyra had Alan, or whatever his name is, kill the High Septon. That was sort of like way out there of a thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like really like, sort of crossing the lines. You know what I'm saying? Of like, if you want to turn yourself into a villain, you know what I mean? Like, do this. You know what I'm saying? So that I don't think moves like that are going to really help her very much. You know what I'm saying? In her quest to, be a
queen.
A light, whatever, queen. You know what I'm saying? It's very counterintuitive to be doing shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But she is losing it. She's definitely fucking, going all. She's getting dark. She's getting she's going into a dark place. You know what I'm saying? To where she can kind of do anything. You know what I mean? At this point, after this episode, right? Which is fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm enjoying her character like that. It's a good, fun fit for her. Again, Emma plays it well. She's very good at projecting that sort of like, I don't know what you want to call it, that sort of Targaryen madness or whatever that Rhaenyra has in her blood, potentially, right? I mean, her dismissing the Whisperer was a solid move. That was actually probably a good move. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, the damn bitch was actually turning her back immediately, walking out of the goddamn castle. She's like turning Rhaenyra's back. So like,
yes.
How loyal was she? You know what I mean? So that was probably not a bad move. And yes, it was very brutal. It was like a very cold move. But Rhaenyra's a very cold fish kind of motherfucker. So you can't be surprised with moves like that. Yeah. I mean, besides that, I guess the last thing I'll probably say is just that yes, I love watching Matt Smith and Emma talk High Valyrian together in those scenes.
Yeah,
they're great. For whatever reason, them speaking the High Valyrian language, whoever crafted that for the show, or like has worked on that, did a great job. You know what I'm saying? It's very well done. I love those scenes for whatever reason. There's just something about that language that's like magical. You know what I mean? And they deliver it so well. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a unique language too. It's almost like an Elvish sort of like, weird sort of language, yeah, that's it, sir.
Awesome. Yeah. She's going to be in my highly disappeared film this year called The Digger, that's starring Tom Cruise. I hope she's in that movie a lot, like some of the cast members. But I think, after the show is done, I think we'll see more of her. Because, the thing about, roles is like you're committed to the show. If it's not like her other cast members that die during the season, they're able to move on. Like the guy from the actor, who was his actor's name?
Again, Andre, she's a very bizarre person. You have to understand that, like, we don't know, like, her mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a very, again, she's non-binary or whatever, publicly. You know what I'm saying? That's a very unique, bizarre sort of thing to actually go out there publicly and do. You know what I mean? So, honestly, as far as what we know, she may not even be willing to actually wear, like, regular female clothing for a role. We don't know.
I mean, she does it, her pronouns, they do it as Rhaenyra. They're wearing dresses all the time. So I don't think that that's going to be a challenge for
she dresses in costumes for House of the Dragon.
But what is an outfit in a production if not a costume?
Yes, I'm sure she'll wear whatever costumes are provided for her to wear in her roles. You know what I'm saying? Again, I just think she's kind of sort of a very, again, what's the term? I don't want to be negative. She's a very eccentric kind of person.
Yeah, but she's not the only one in Hollywood that's like that.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. Like, everyone is very eccentric, and that's not like a new thing. Jocelyn, let's get you. What are your thoughts about this beginning part of really Rhaenyra, like, going in the darker path?
Yeah, so I love it, and I will say, I love Emma Darcy, and I think that they are doing a great job, and they definitely deserve award recognition. I hope that this show doesn't suffer from recency bias, given that, as Jeff aptly pointed out, because of when the shows come out, they're not in contention for the current cycle, which means it's going to be a later cycle, and there will be so much television that comes out between now and when that cycle happens. But HBO is a huge network. So if they want their actors considered for big awards, I know that they will put the weight of their operation behind them. And I hope they do it for Emma Darcy and this show generally, because it has been a great season. I mean, Emma seems very, very lovely and cool and laid back in interviews. My concern in terms of
she seems very cool in person. Yes,
they are very cool in person, the concern I have generally is that sometimes I think when you have actors that do niche shows, that sometimes it is harder for them to make that leap and to go on to do stuff. So I'm excited to hear that they will be in a movie with Tom Cruise. But think about Game of Thrones. There were so many spectacular actors that were on that show. And when you think about where you've seen them since, Kit Harington has popped up every now and then. I think he's finally kind of found his sweet spot and is working more consistently. Peter Dinklage is Peter Dinklage, and you know that Peter Dinklage is going to continue to work. But generally speaking, given how large and talented that cast has been, we really haven't seen them in a lot of stuff. Some of it might be by choice. Some of them are by training stage actors, so we're not going to get visibility into that. But I do worry a little bit about this very amazing cast, and I want them to get other opportunities. And sometimes when you do kind of the sci-fi, the fantasy stuff, you can get kind of pigeonholed, and it does make it harder to get new opportunities. Like, frankly, Matt Smith is almost like an exception to the rule, because frankly, Doctor Who could have done his career in, but he's gotten super lucky, and he's, kind of switched back between stage and film. And this, then he did The Crown, and this has been, like, I would say his third, like, big on-screen role in terms of television. So Emma Darcy is just far too talented. So I want to see Emma more. So I hope that this cast on a whole fares better with opportunities once the show's ended than the cast of Game of Thrones, because there were so many brilliant actors from that show that I wish I was seeing more on television and screen, and I'm not seeing it. I think some of that is kind of the sci-fi niche thing that, for whatever reason, I guess people get kind of snobbish about it and don't want to cast people because they're like, you were Rhaenyra Targaryen. People are going to always think of you as Rhaenyra Targaryen. So I hope that this cast gets to do more,
Jocelyn,
because they're also talented.
Plus, there's the HBO angle too, right? We talked about, Like, oh, it's an HBO show. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, right? That's a real thing.
Right. And so I'm rooting for them because there's so much talent in this cast. So listen, I'm loving Rhaenyra's heel turn. And Andres, as you mentioned, Rhaenyra's descent into madness has been so much better written than what we got with Daenerys in Game of Thrones. It's been a slow, gradual buildup, but you completely get it. And to me, I don't even think it's madness. I think it's grief, exasperation, the weight of the world, the weight of this prophecy. That's all just kind of coming together. And Rhaenyra has no outlets, and nothing is going Rhaenyra's way. So I'm like, yeah, she's gonna lose her shit eventually, and I can't wait for it. And what I love about what they've done with Rhaenyra's, I'm just gonna keep calling it the descent into madness, is how the music kind of underscores it. Like in an episode earlier this season, it was like the violins, like every time you could just see her on the edge, ready to just snap, the violins would get louder and louder. And in this episode, they did it a lot too, when she was on that edge and just really just completely out there, and the music would get super intense in those moments. So I love that, and I thought it was all well done. I was shocked by the White Worm's dismissal. And y'all know last week I said on this very live stream that I was tired of the White Worm. I was done with this character. I wanted to be done with her. So smart move, Rhaenyra. You probably should have done this already, but the way Rhaenyra did it was absolutely not smart. This is supposed to be your mistress of whispers. Like Rhaenyra and Mysaria became close because Mysaria was originally Daemon's person, and she turned on him and then sidled up to Rhaenyra. So if I'm Rhaenyra, yes, I may get away from her, get her out of my circle, but I'm probably gonna handle it a little bit differently because I don't want to alienate her. So it's either one of two ways. I'm either gonna give her a job that has no meaning to it, or I'm going to have to imprison her. But I wouldn't just let her out and about in the world where she could potentially, most very likely, turn on me and do me harm, because goodness knows Rhaenyra already has more enemies than she can count at this point. So just that would be my only little thing. Like, and I wish we understood a little bit more, like, why now? You know, what changed? Because I don't think that was really, it certainly wasn't telegraphed by the sex scene that they had at the end of the last episode. So I do wish that we could have gotten a little bit more in her headspace. I assume maybe that, you know, the White Worm's friend, where she was pretending to be like an emissary for the queen and saying, I can listen to your problems. Maybe she whispered in some people's ears herself and said, you know, this woman is out here acting like she is like a stand-in for you. So you may want to get her out of your circle. I don't know. I wish we weren't left to speculate about that. And it'll be interesting to see if when we pick up season 4, if we get any insight as to like why now? Why did Rhaenyra make the call now? The High Sept, frankly, Rhaenyra should have killed him several episodes ago. I know I am generally not a violent person, but I'm just like, I think that I'm just over the High Sept. It's my Game of Thrones kind of baggage carrying over. I'm like, maybe Cersei had some points with respect to the High Septon. She should have been more forceful with them at the outset. It made no sense to do it at this point, because at this point, Aegon has risen from the dead. Sunfire has come back from the dead. If I were her, I wouldn't have even had the conversation with the High Sept. Screw them. Like Daemon said before, you have dragons. Your father declared you the heir. To hell with what they say. The people who are rallying to his side, they were never with you anyway. So let's not waste time and probably building some bad juju by killing, I don't know about the 7-faced god or the whatever. I don't know if there's bad juju that comes from killing those folks. It can't be a good thing for you, a good omen. So that's probably going to come back to bite her as well. It just, I just don't understand. Why are we doing this detour? But every time Rhaenyra makes a bad decision, I have to remind myself, grief, lost 2 sons, pressure. I get it. I get why she's making so many bad decisions. Finally, the prophecy. The prophecy and invoking the prophecy has been one of my least favorite things in this series. And I guess the reason why I don't like it is because I watched Game of Thrones. And frankly, I don't really think the prophecy kind of shook out. It, you know, it was all this build up and kind of a fart in the wind once it was all said and done. This show, what is so interesting about it is the civil war. It is the war within this family, jockeying for power, jockeying for the throne. You got like 3 factions of greens all trying to make a claim. Then you've got Rhaenyra. All that is way more compelling to me narratively than that stupid prophecy. But I did like the way that it was invoked in this finale because it was so ridiculous. Rhaenyra, why are you out here? These people don't have food. They don't feel safe, and everything feels uncertain, and they're big ass dragons circling over their heads that could just burn everything down at any given moment. The last thing that people want to hear in a moment like that is that you were chosen and there is a prophecy. Girl, shut up. Like, no one wants to hear. These people don't want to hear that. So I kind of found it comical, and it was sort of the perfect punctuation to just how much this has gotten away from Rhaenyra. Like, you have just lost the plot on so many different levels, but this is kind of the perfect encapsulation of how much you've lost the plot here, because I promise you that these people that you're talking about don't give a shit about that prophecy. Like, prophecy what? Shut up. We're hungry. Give us some bread, ma'am. You know, where is the money? Where is the food? They don't care that someone had a dream and that you were the prince that was promised. So that's it. That's my thoughts on that. And also, if you want to learn High Valyrian, which is a beautiful language, it's on Duolingo. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, what you're saying, Jocelyn. And speaking of the actors' career, you know, yeah, they're all British actors. They always do theater work, and you know, because the thing about the previous ensemble cast from Game of Thrones was the Hollywood were forcing them to be in roles that I don't think they were appropriate with. That's another topic, another time to discuss. but that was always the feeling I had. Like, I mean, let's be honest. I saw Amelia Clark in the recently. I saw the Terminator Genesis for the first time because I heard so many bad things about that movie, and she was so wrong as Sarah Connor, and it wasn't her fault. Like, she's a
Right.
great actress. And there's so many actors they're able to like as you were saying, for a switch to movies and TV like Matt Smith has done. It's just Matt Smith is good at, like, he just knows what he knows how to pick the right projects. It doesn't matter if he has a bad movie like Morbius. He's fine. I mean, he was in The Crown between that movie and that seasons. But yeah, great job, guys. Really appreciate your thoughts. Yeah, I kind of agree. Jonathan, you brought about the decision to dismiss the White Worm. I do agree with you on that part. I do want like a scene like why she did that, because that was kind of weird. Like, from last episode, it was like she was into her, but all of a sudden like dismissing her. And I kind of wish we had an answer with that. That part I do agree under your analysis on the beginning of this episode. Okay, so, and speaking of Amen, and so we got another great scene that I did like. So we get back to Harold, and here we get Alice talking to Amen, and a great scene where she talks about her being cursed with immortality, which I was kind of like, I can't believe they actually did that, and her story about her after failing to save her dying son with magic, which was so good. Like, speaking of Alice, like, she's a very interesting and fascinating character. I like that we got a witch, and I think they're doing a better job using this character than whoever that the other witch from the original show. I have to be honest. I thought Alice brought, like, the actress that plays her, like, did such a good job displaying that monologue about her being cursed in that castle with immortality, and there's just failing to save her dying son with magic. That was really like powerful stuff. And we get to the scene that I love. After that awesome dramatic scene was Aegon. Was it? Asking a remorseful Aemon of all things to help retake the Iron Throne once they find Aegar. That scene was so hilarious when Aegon just comes down and he says, like, hello, like, very cocky. It's like, again, the actor here who plays Aegon, like, I don't mind him, but this season he really, like, just chewing up the scenery, and I think this is his best season as Aegon. Um, so we get that. So now we got this alliance of these two brothers. It's so weird to see Edmund being so remorseful and not being the cocky brother that he was, the Kingslayer he was. That is so weird. I felt like that was just like, wow, that's like a 180 from that character that I was not expecting. But he has really bizarre mommy issues, some reason, but I don't know. So after that, we get back to, like, the real meat of the story that I think all of us want is with the army. So we see the Tully army outside of the market. Uh, Armin lines the this part was like kind of crazy. Like, Armin lines the ramparts with the trident to say the suit Damon for using his dragon, which that was a really dick move on Aemon to do that. And then Darren has Darren, the nephew of Orman, has his, like, was it his uncle?
Yep,
Free
Uncle
Cor.
Gawain. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Free chorus they negotiate with Damon to divide the realm, but Damon refuses. Of course, like, why not? Like, I'm not gonna accept peace offering right now. So I don't know why he thought that was a, like, get a deal for him. And then and this is the wrap up. Both sides are searching for Ulf, which that was like such a hilarious thing, and especially for Armin, he was like, "Where is that little bastard?" And he's like walking around with his sick man, searching and all that, and of course, I love how David just didn't care, and it's like, "Where is he?" Like, he didn't put effort to it, like. Orman has. So that was funny. And just wrapping up this section here. Orman finds him hung over and beats him up. And so let me stop there. So going back to you, Jocelyn, what are your thoughts about this mix section? Seeing more background with Alice as a character, and finding out that she's cursed, and and her whole like tragic backstory. Seeing Aegon teaming up with his brother Aemon, and then the wrap up of this mix section was seeing now the battle of the market, and seeing both sides trying to find Olaf. Olaf the Great White, but Orman finds him first, and he's hung over and beats him up because he was at the bathroom and being drunk. Go ahead.
Yeah, I completely agree with you about Alice. It was nice. This was some long overdue layering to the character that I think that we needed, beyond just being a spooky witchy woman who just skulks about, helping people. So I loved that we finally kind of got her point of view. Like I said, Tom Glencarney, talk about people right up there with Emma Darcy, someone who after this, I want to know everything that they're in because I want to watch it, because he is having the time of his life playing Aegon. This scene where he just basically came in like, "What's up, bitches? You thought I was dead?" And I think it really was this great juxtaposition to see him just come in full of vim and vigor and spunk. Thanks, he's been reunited with his dragon, and to literally find his brother just broken and on his knees and full of regret. And I gotta tell you, it took me a while before I trusted it, because I just kept thinking, well, I know that he can't kill his brother because that would end this show in so many different ways. But I kept just waiting for some moment to call into question how broken Aemon was. But I believe it. I'm all in on how broken he was. And I suppose if you are someone with deep, deep mommy issues and your mommy tries to poison you and take you off of this mortal coil, that could be the kind of thing that just breaks you and kind of humbles you and brings you to your knees. So I love their scene. Just all of it. I love the way the actors interacted with each other, but I am just having so much fun with Tom Glencarney, and I hope that we have opportunities for Aegon to just be ridiculous. I love what you said. He just chews up the scenery, but in all the best ways, and I hope we get more of that in the final season. And then, of course, there is the ridiculous search for Ulf, the Where's Waldo segment of this episode. And when I mentioned at the top that I laughed so much at Orman because it brought me so much joy that he found him in a latrine, because it smelled terrible. And that actor is very good at just doing the oh god, I'm gonna throw up faces. And it was so funny when he finally found him, because it's like, okay, he's drunk, he's definitely drunk and passed out somewhere. And to your point, Damien was like, fuck it, we just gonna keep going, we're gonna figure out a different game plan, we'll work it out. Whereas Orman was like, no, I had a plan, I'm gonna find him, screw the battle, I know the battle has started, but I'm gonna keep looking because we need this game. We need this piece on the game board. So I thought that was just really funny. I think one of the takeaways from this series might be, hey, kids, don't drink and dragon. When Aegon got drunk and on a dragon, we see what happened to him. And now we have Ulf drinking and dragoning. I know we're going to talk about that next, but just wanted to set it up because we know that he was very, very, very hungover. And I love the kind of side dealing that Darren and Gwen tried to do. I was thinking about what characters on this show I genuinely like, who I don't think are terrible people. Like, I love Daemon Targaryen. He is my favorite. I love Rhaenyra, but I know that they're probably, they're great characters. I think that Gwen is a decent person. I think that Corlys is a decent person. And they're two people that I'm genuinely hoping survive this nonsense. And so it was fun to get a scene between these two characters who are so practical and level-headed and can see the big picture, because the plan made absolute sense. Like, enough of this fighting. He is offering you a deal where you're gonna get a whole gaggle of Team Green people on your side to go against Aegon and Aemon. But of course, Damon's got a Damon. And he said, absolutely not. And I get it. Why would you trust a Hightower? But I actually do trust Gwaine and Darren. Damon wouldn't know that, but he probably should have trusted Corlys a little bit more in that moment. So that's it. I'd like when two practical people with common sense get to share time on screen. So I appreciated that we got a little bit of Gwaine and Corlys time.
I agree. Yeah, I'm hoping that Corus, right, Lord Corus, survives, because he's my favorite character. Because so far he's the only character that's actually decent, and like he's trying to have the interests of the king, like the Seven Kingdoms, to be peaceful. You know, like, and yeah, and I was worried about this season because he has near deaths, like
all the time. Yes, it's like every other episode.
I was talking to my mom. I was like, please to God, not this episode. And thank goodness it wasn't like that. Yeah, so Jeff, your turn. What do you thought about this section of the episode, sir? Go ahead.
Well, the pregame up until the battle was great. Again, you mentioned the pace already, Andres. This season had wonderful pacing. Again, episode to episode too. It's been great. It's been it's been sort of it's changed at times from episode to episode throughout the season. But the show's had a great pace. And not just when there's battles too. You know what I'm saying? It maintains a great pacing no matter what they're doing, sort of on the show. You know what I'm just yeah. I mean, the pregame up until the battle is great. I mean, the scene with the Cripple King, going to Harrenhal was definitely powerful. Great acting and. Very. I honestly was not shocked by what's his name, Aegon or whatever, by his sort of change of demeanor or whatever. He's sort of in a different place now. And plus Harrenhal affects you. You know what I'm saying? We already saw that. You know what I'm saying? There's something about living in Harrenhal. You know what I mean? That sort of like affects your mind. You know what I mean? It can change you. It's that kind of place, It's very much like a witchy, haunted sort of castle, without question. I love it. I think it's great. Whenever they go there during the show, it's usually always great. You know what I mean? It's never bad, Yeah, getting some more history on, what's her name? Jocelyn, how do you pronounce her name?
Alice.
Yeah. Getting any backstory on her is great. You know what I'm saying? Anything you can get, we can get is great. I'm assuming what she was saying, that story that she was talking about, was her, which means that, again, she's old as fuck. She's using magic or whatever and stuff like that to sort of in some way to de-age herself. You know what I'm saying? In some way, she's maintaining her youth, because according to her story, if I understood her, she's been around for a while. You know what I'm saying? And it's not natural. It didn't sound natural how long she's been around. But yet she's still trying to get pregnant and everything, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's in some way it's possible that she's doing something a la Melisandre to sort of like magic up her looks and her age in some way. You know what I'm saying? Because in real life, she's actually like 120 years old or 80 or something. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know, Again, she's dealing with different gods and like different magic and stuff like that than Melisandre was in Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? Totally different sources. You know what I mean? Alice's stuff comes from Harrenhal and the woods, like she said. You know what I'm saying? And like the gods from the woods and shit like that. And all that magic. Which we know that shit's real in this universe. But Melisandre's shit was the god of fire. Whatever the fuck that was called.
Yes, born amidst salt and smoke. Yes, the red god.
Yes, that was where her magic came from, her power, which is like a whole totally different sort of source at the end of the day. You know what I mean? In terms of where her powers and her abilities are coming from. You know what I'm saying? Her teaching, her training, or whatever, if you want to call it that. So yeah, I'd love to get any bits of backstory on her again that we can get is great. I really enjoyed that sort of look into her character. I thought it was very informative, in terms of who she is. And yes, if she actually is potentially like a super aged person in real life, that would be a very fun facet to add to the show. You know what I mean? But we'll probably never get that really confirmed. I would not be surprised. So besides that, loved seeing Rhaenyra force feed. What's her name? Helena. Yeah. That was brutal. Force feeding is always brutal. Yes. Shit like that will make you suicidal. Just a little tidbit, little note there. But yeah. Besides that, Andres, that's it, buddy.
Awesome. So yeah, I can agree. Great section here. Let's get into the actual meat of the episode. Let me wrap up this whole episode here. So after that, right? We get. I thought this was a good start for some reason, but no. This is Roderick, the Winter Wolves, scaled the market's walls while Damon's dragon Chorus destroys the main gate, which was really cool. And the nerve of those soldiers, usually the soldiers, the soldiers' nerve to use the Trident in front of the gate. I was like, no, you're great. And it was so like, I really hate you, Armin, like so bad. Thank goodness, this finale, like thank goodness he died. But man, it made me appreciate more with Damien. Like I thought Damien was, this cruel, evil character, and no, he actually does listen to Rhaenyra, and like he didn't like kill the kids, which I was happy to see. I was like, we know Damon now. Last 2 seasons, he's a very unpredictable character, and I was so happy he didn't go like cross the line for me in terms of like killing the kids. So I really like that scene of him just waiting and like telling the kids to move, like move, and so that you don't get killed by my dragon and all that, right? So after they get destroyed, Olaf, the white, like mounts his dragon Silverwing, and he attacks the Tully forces, as planned, and he then burns the whole marketplace, and like including killing Armin and Roderick while they fight. That scene was so hilarious. Like, see, I was so happy that Armin got his due. Like he gets beaten up, and then Roderick, who he was my favorite character this season. He was like Jocelyn brought up that he's from the Sons of Anarchy. He's a well-known actor. I saw him. He was one of the Ravagers from the Guardians films. The I think the second chapter of Volume 2. He's a good friend of James Gunn. Great actor. Love his his role here in this season. I love his line, like, that's how the dwarf gets that's how you get fucked by the dwarf. That was my favorite line when he says to Armin, like he stabs him with his butt. I was like, oh my god. He was the highlight of this battle, and he was so excited to get killed by a dragon. So yeah. And then you got John, who was played by the actor I brought up, that was Tim from the Endor, was battling Damon, but because Ola portrays both sides, he just attacks everyone in the market, and he interrupts their fight there. And then after Damien kind of survives from that attack, Chorus, convinces Damien to retreat, which he does, which is good. Uh, then the uncle, cannot find the nephew, which that kind of left mystery. So we have to wait for 2 years to find out what happened to this kid. So I'm like, okay, fine. Hugh, poor Hugh. I love the character. I was so sad he finds Kate dead. At least she didn't die horribly, which I was kind of happy about. So I like she just she was there. Like we don't know how she died, but she died. Sadly. Um, kind of weird. My mom has a Kate, like she is Cat, so it's kind of weird that this character's named Cat. So this is kind of weird. That's not her full name, but a lot of her friends call her her short name Cat, which is hilarious. And then after that, Renea learns that this part I was shocked. As Jeff said before, like I kind of knew she was kind of going to that path of I don't like to say the word suicide, but it was kind of building up to that in the last few episodes. And after that force feed, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm getting out of there. So she did the thing similar, like again, a great storytelling, paralleling to Cersei's kid. I forgot her other son from season 6 of Game of Thrones, where he jumped off.
Oh, Tommen, poor
Thomas. Yeah.
After his mom used what's it
blew
called?
up that wow. What does it call it?
Yeah. I don't know. Serpent.
He used that substance that they have.
It's that green stuff, and I just can't remember the name of it.
Yeah. I hate it. Yeah, where he killed his she killed his wife.
She blew up the septum. She blew up the septum.
Yes, in season 6 with the high sparrows and all that who were like against her, and Tom, how you say it, like sadly jumped out of the window. Same thing with Atlanta hit from the window to her death was really sad. And she leaves, as we know, she's a dreamer, and so she kind of predicts the future, or like visions of like what's gonna happen next. And she leaves this in burial showing Renea bleeding on the Iron Throne, which was, oh my god, kind of crazy. And you kind of saw that in, I think, one of the credits here, the opening credits of this episode, because they've been like very good at the opening credits, using the same song from the Game of Thrones, but they changed the credits here. Instead of like the forming of the castles of King's Landing, we see like Helena's like knitting as the thing to show you what's gonna happen foreseeing the future. So we see this like pursuing the downfall of Renea, and that's the end of the episode. So just getting back to you, Jeff, your final thoughts on the final part of this episode. Go ahead.
Yes, just all great. It's just all really fun stuff. That battle was, like Jocelyn said, it was top notch. It had everything. And you could want from like an old fashioned, whatever century, sort of medieval, sort of battle. You know what I'm saying? You had the White Wolves and like, the really violent killing, the shows that the HBO and these shows are known for. It was great. Let's be honest, it was great. Watching people get killed with an axe is always something. Yes. Watching the whole battle was great. Just the beginning, the middle, the end. That fight that Damon was in was no joke. You know what I'm saying? Damon almost got a couple times. You know what I'm saying? He got very lucky. Because he was definitely not winning. When that dragon fire knocked the building down or whatever, and it fucked up the fight. He was losing. So it worked out for him. And my man Corliss shows up and grabs him to leave, right? That's Corliss for you right there. You know what I'm saying? He's so spot on, fucking Ulf, dude. That drunk motherfucker, bro. Burning up the whole goddamn town. Killing all those goddamn people and shit, bro. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? it's literally, it's so stupid. It's just as stupid as it was when Danny did it in Game of Thrones. It's like, what are you doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? It's not good. It doesn't make for good television. You know what I'm saying? Seeing like a devastated city and town and shit with burnt children and shit and all this kind of shit. It's not positive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I love HBO. Don't get me wrong. I love HBO. I love these HBO, bro. HBO shows. But I'll be honest with you. I could literally like I don't need to see little children getting inserted into battles against grown men, like violent men. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that, you know? Okay, like you did it one time, you know what I'm saying? That's fine. You know what I mean? You know, I can handle it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
thankfully, that's not going to become like a trend. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, thankfully they really handled the one killing they did where they had the one guy kill the kid. You know,
Roderick did it. Yeah, with the
that was well done. You know, it wasn't like real brutal. You know what I'm saying? But it was still rough, bro. You know what I'm saying? Watching him kill that kid.
It was quick. It was like a quick, like.
Well, I mean, with an axe like that, you don't got to do much.
No.
Right to somebody's face, you know. I mean, it's brutal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how he killed him. Axe to face.
Yes.
That was rough.
My bad, but like I kind of wanted the other weapon, the maze with the the spikes and the that one. Like I don't know why, but for some reason I like that weapon now because we see that so many times in the season. That could be a cool kill. But anyway, sorry, Jeff. Go on, continue. I'm sorry. I just want to.
I like that axe. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, the axe is good. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the other stuff. I like the other weapons too. You know what I mean? But I thought the axe was great. You know, it's very effective in battle. You know, you got to be very skilled, I think, probably to wield an axe in battle. You know, good for that guy, man, to be one of those hardcore old school motherfuckers where you can like cut off his arm and stab him and shit, and he still fights on and lives and shit like that. You know what I mean? That's awesome. People like that are great. You know, you gotta love it. And yeah, watching him like dance before he got burned was great. You know, he was all about it. He's like, yeah, burn me, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I love it. You know, you gotta love motherfuckers like that. You know what I mean? He just seems like a cool motherfucker. You know, I mean, if not for getting burnt by that dragon, he probably would have survived all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just one of those dudes. You know what I'm saying? Where maybe he would have just, you know, got sewed up and then like whatever, let's do it again. You know, tomorrow. You know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah, that was a brutal battle. This is a brutal show. It's a brutal universe. We know that. You know. Yes. When I saw the little children pissing themselves and shit like that before battle, I was like, damn, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they actually had them children up there like to like fight the dragons. You know? I was like, what? Come on now. But hey, you know, again, that's HBO, baby. They gotta push that button. They gotta cross them lines. So there you go. They did it again right there. Throw some children out there, you know. Having Damon burn those children, you know. Come on, baby. That does not shock me that Damon would burn those children, you know. He's a cold motherfucker, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's probably done. He's a motherfucker where he's probably done all kinds of horrible shit as a person in his life. You know what I mean? Horrible shit, probably. You know, and I believe it. You know what I'm saying? But he's still a cool guy on the show. Don't get me wrong. He's still very relatable. Like, you'd want to have a beer with him. You know what I mean? Kind of like guy, you know? So, which is great. That's just, you know, that's like hats off to Matt Smith for making the character that relatable like that, you know? Yeah, and, I mean, again, it's just very sad seeing how the battle ended. It was very anticlimactic, you know, seeing the... did a great job. How they produced it and shot and pulled off the aftermath of the, you know, what happens to, you know, after the math of a burning like that. It's bad. You know, it's a war zone. You know what I mean? And it's very sad, you know, to watch. And hey, unfortunately with House of the Dragon, sad is part of the deal. Sometimes the show goes into that sad direction at times, and that's how it is. And it's still good, it just is unfortunately at times sad, yes. I guess lastly, I'll just say that, yeah, it was very symbolic and very cool seeing Rhaenyra pick up,
the tapestry.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes. It was very, very well done. Very, very fitting ending for the episode of the season, because again, she's already learned, that she has powers and abilities and all that shit. You know what I mean? So that she's going to garner some real, stakes from that quilt or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Again, it was a great finale. Not only finale is well done, let's be honest. Some good shows have not had great finales. It happens sometimes. This was a very well done final episode of the season. It was really good. And that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, I agreed. Jocelyn, go ahead. Your thoughts on the final part of the finale.
Yeah, I mean, completely agree with Jeff. Like a well done, excellent finale. And I said at the top episode, but again, I just want to talk about how fantastic Tommy Flanagan was as Roddy the Ruin. And I don't know the actor's name, but the actor that played Ormond, because when you think about it, these are two characters that we got introduced to in episode 1 of the season. We had no history, no time spent with them, and we lost them both in this finale. And by the end, I felt like we had spent sufficient time with them. I felt connected to them, and they both truly left their mark on this war and on this series. And that's a feat to do in 8 episodes. Excellent work all around by them. I was proud of Damon. Sorry. Had to cough there for a second.
No worries.
I was happy. Wait, let me take a sip of. Hold on.
Yeah. This is a good time. The actor you're referring to for Armin is James Norton.
Thank you. Actor. Yes. He was fantastic. Like, glad to see him gone because, as Jeff said, it's some really dark shit that you basically built a human shield using kids. So Orman needed to get up out of here, and I'm glad that he's gone now. But what a fun, fantastic, twisted villain with the sensitivity. He and Roddy the Ruin were standouts of this season to me. And again, really great work to have done all of that in just 8 episodes. And I think this goes to Jeff's point about the length of the episode. So you only have 8 episodes, but when you're getting full hours of content, then you can do that with characters and have them be impactful. I was proud of Damon for not just immediately burning all the kids. He did genuinely try to get them out of the way, because I think, to your point, Jeff, Damon is absolutely the type of character who would have been like, fuck those kids, I'm going to burn them. But in that moment, when he's talking to Oscar Tully and talking to Roddy the Ruin, I appreciated that he was like, Rhaenyra has to be a queen that people respect. And it was the right call, but I was shocked that he exercised restraint in that moment and really did try to wait until it was really, really necessary to finally use Caraxes to go through the gate. Again, don't drink and dragon, kids. Off. You're a hot mess. I'm assuming that in season 4, Rhaenyra is going to reconsider her decision to bench Baela and Rhaena, because I think Baela would have been much more reliable for them in that battle. She probably shouldn't have put her on punishment and sent her to the room. And frankly, given what Ulf did on his dragon, I might have taken my chances with Rhaena and Sheepstealer, because if you're going to have a chaos dragon in the mix, at least get one that's on your side. I mean, so I expect that when season 4 picks up, Rhaenyra is going to go tap them back in and say, okay, you're back in the game. Suit up. We've talked about how much we love Corlys. I was surprised, but happy about his loyalty up until the very end to be the one to yank Damon and say, we need to get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Like, let this go. We need to bail. Off is on some bullshit. It's time to clear. It's time to get out of here. Like, thank you, Corliss, for saving Damon, because I think that Damon was ready to just ride that out until the bloody end. And I guess we'll have to see how Hugh reacts to the death of his wife. Logically speaking, you would think that Hugh will be pissed at Ulf, because Ulf is really the one responsible for all of the chaos and the burning down of things. But I suspect because Rhaenyra can't catch a break, it's probably a good likelihood that maybe Hugh will just be like, fuck everybody, fuck these dragons, I hate all of you people. Who knows? But I'm curious to see where he goes, given that he's one of the people that has this nuclear weapon of a crotch rocket that he gets to ride. How is he going to wield that power when season 4 picks up? And completely agree. I think that Helena's end was very sad. I'll be very curious to see if George R.R. Martin is interviewed or asked or decides to weigh in on this. I don't know if you followed all of the behind the scenes stuff, but back in season 2, he did this blog post because he was pissed about changes that Ryan Condal made to Helena's storyline. Helena was going to always commit suicide, but there's a whole different, in the books, there's a different reason why she ends up in that place. And George R.R. Martin was pissed about it and said, I give them my notes. They don't listen to me. I'm not doing the show anymore. I'm just, I've washed my hands of it. They made him take down the post, but at that point, everyone had seen it. So I would be really curious, because he seemed to feel like the change that they made in season 2 took Helena off track. And I'm like, well, she ended up in the same place. So the nosy part of me would love to know if he thinks that they stuck the landing with her death. I thought it was impactful. It was sad. The force feeding was awful. And Helena was just one of those people that just seemed too good for this world. And so I wasn't surprised by it, because she just doesn't strike you. Kind of like Tommen. Too sweet for this world, too good for this world. Those type of people don't last long in stories like this. And it was wildfire, because I had to look it up because it was driving me crazy that I couldn't remember what he used to blow up the set, and it was wildfire.
Awesome. That's all, Jocelyn?
That's all I got.
Awesome. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was a little lag there. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
No, I kind of agree. Yeah, I heard that that conference story about the changes that they did to Elena. I mean, again, you cannot blame the showrunner. Like, he was just running the show by himself. If he had another person that went through carefully the notes that George offer, I think he couldn't, he didn't had to complain. But weirdly, his name is with the showrunner this season. If you pay attention to the credits,
he still gets his credit. Yeah,
credit. So I don't know if they made a deal or something to get George to be fine. I mean, he got his 9 of 7 Kingdoms. He likes that storyline, so I guess in the end, he's still involved. It's just. He has to realize this show is going to take a different direction. I'm very curious about what's going to happen to Hugh, because I know something that's going to happen to Ulf and him later on. So I am curious, because Hugh also is another important thing that will affect Rhaenyra's reign as a queen. So I'm curious how that's going to play. But yeah, that's the end of the episode. Good job, guys. I agree with you guys. I love this final part. It was amazing. Definitely the best battles. Like the battle from House of Dragon. I thought it was definitely better and definitely superior over the Battle of Glut from the beginning of the season. And it was an hour long, which was great. So now I'm gonna go Red Robin to kind of hear your guys' ratings for this episode and the season in the season 3 as well. So Jocelyn, tell me what's your rating for this episode and the rating for this whole series, this whole season of season 3. Go ahead.
What's the scale? Am I going 1 to 10, 1 to 5?
1 to 10. Yeah,
Okay.
For both. Yeah.
I'm going to give them both a 9.5. I have just teeny tiny little nitpicks, but otherwise, I think that they were both excellent season, excellent finale. So I'm giving them both a 9.5.
Awesome. Jeff, your ratings for this episode and the season 3 all. Go ahead.
I'll give the finale a 10, and I'll give the season a 9.5. Again, I think the 9.5 is very fair.
Yeah, no, I agreed. God, this is tough. Yeah, I'll give this finale a 10 as well. And this show, I'm gonna give it higher, a 10 out of 10, because we had great moments of this show. Like, we had like 3 or 4 awesome moments from the show, which was awesome. I mean, Josh death was crazy. Chorus battle with the lady pirate was awesome. Like, that battle was great too. And then the secondary episode, Renea seeing the death of her son, and then her getting to King's Landing, and then the third episode with her, full on queen was awesome, and then the twist that she didn't get the nephew and all that was great. And then this episode was awesome, like, great finale, great battle. I thought it was better than the battle of Glutz, and the performances were top notch for these actors. So I'm very sad. We're not gonna review this show again until 2 years. Annoying. I hate this wait, but hey, it's worth it. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight of the House of Dragon Season 3, Episode 8 live recap. Jocelyn, thank you for coming back again to review this with us. It was a pleasure to have another person to talk about this show, And so
Yes, it was great having you again, Joss. It was awesome.
Okay, yes. Thank you both so much. I had so much fun, and now, Jeff, you've like unlocked all of the streaming stuff, so I'm going to be going down that rabbit hole because I enjoyed our conversation before the stream started. But thank you all so much for having me. And if you all want to check out I'm gonna need More Wine Pod, I've done coverage of the show there as well, so please check it out. But thank you so much. I had a blast talking with you both about these last 2 episodes, and it was such fun episodes. I'm glad that they were both so good, because it's a bummer when you don't like an episode and you have to talk about it, but yes, it's always fun when you're talking to fellow fans who just love it and are having a good time.
Yes, no, great. I agreed. That always sucks to talk about bad episode. Yeah, I'll give it to Jet to plug this out. We
still gotta do Dead City, episode 3.
Yes. We had to do that. But thank you again, Justin, for coming. Hopefully we can come back and do some other TV reviews in the future. And again, when we get back to the House Dragon, we're definitely keep you in mind as well when we get to 2028. So.
Yes, always happy to hop in and join, and I enjoy y'all's content, so I will be continuing to watch and follow along, but I will leave you all to Negan and Maggie and whatever is going on with those 2 this week. Thanks so much.
Yes, no problem.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Later.
Oh, man. Yeah, Dead City.
Still the Dead City, sir.
Yes, but let me say this right now. I'm gonna be very loose because we're talking a long hour. I gotta say this was a good episode of Dead City. Like, this show has really improved, I have to say. I thought this Thursday, this episode, I actually like this episode of them.
You don't have to get the synopsis or anything like that. We can just crank out a quick review of the episode or whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, and get it done. And be done with it.
Yeah, let's do that. Because it's pretty much about Negan and Maggie helping out these new visitors to like be part of their community, basically. And and it was a really good.
That is very much what the episode is. Yes.
Yeah. So I liked it. I didn't have a problem with it. Herschel was useful. I really like what role he was doing in this episode. I really love the new character
how the fuck could Herschel be so goddamn old? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, are you telling me that in the Walking Dead universe, his dad died like 15 years ago or some shit like that? Because he's like, what is he, like, goddamn 16, 17 years old or something?
Kind of, yeah.
So that's crazy that the show has like that much time has commenced. You know what I'm saying? Because she got pregnant when he died.
Yeah, right.
She was pregnant when he died.
yeah, yeah, I don't know the
She found out.
timeline
She found out after.
after. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So I'm gonna take I guess a look at the timeline, but yeah, it's supposed to be
I know that there was a big time jump. They did a big time jump, time skip in the show at one point. Remember,
yes.
somewhere around like I don't know what season they had like a 2 year or 3 year time skip. You know,
Yeah.
in between in between seasons, before the Whisper arc. They had that. I know they had that. They had that big time. Did they have a time skip with Rick too before Rick went away?
Yeah. Rick left around I think 9, right? Because 10 Michonne left. Yeah. I'm looking at it right
I
now.
think they did a time skip with Rick too.
Oh
Like
yeah.
before he disappeared when they were like working on the bridge, they actually had done a time skip right before that.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at it now. No, it's in season 9. There's a time jump 6 years later in season 9 after Rick disappears. So I'm
There you
just
go.
looking at
There you go. They did a 6 year time jump. There you go.
yeah. So no. You're right because yeah, because I was kind of like I didn't remember when they did it because yeah, it was right after when Rick gets captured by the organization that find him
Yes.
and
And then they had another time jump too, at some point in between another set of seasons. I remember because
yeah.
I did pay attention. You know.
Yeah. Okay. And then it's actually in the final season, season 11, where there's like a 1 year later where Maggie is the leader of the Hilltop.
Okay, so
Where,
that's when they did it. Okay, I did
yeah,
not know
that's what
that.
you
All
did.
right.
Yeah. And then yeah, then and that city is like several years after the end of The Walking Dead. Let's say, uh, in in that synopsis. So yeah,
If you look at the shows they've done, they basically have managed to get all of the most popular characters from the original show out on these shows. You know what I'm saying? They
yeah,
have basically done that.
yeah. That's true.
Don't get me wrong. Every fan has different opinions and different favorites, right?
Hmm.
But overall, I think Daryl, Carol, Michonne, Rick, um, Maggie,
And
Negan
Negan.
are the most popular characters on the show, of the original show.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree. No,
I,
those are the top tier
we
characters.
stopped watching when Negan came on. Both of us, right? We stopped
Yes.
watching with Negan, so we don't
Yeah.
even know anything about Negan really. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't come back and watch him. I didn't either. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I'd see him when I would come back and just be like, whatever. Okay, Negan. He's there.
Yeah. He's another Walking Dead comic character they brought in.
He was
That's
just
not.
doing weird shit like later on in the show. You know what I mean? He was like living with the good people, and like in prison at times, and you know what I'm saying? Like, then he'd be free for a while. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
He stopped killing people and stuff like that. It was like he was in a weird spot, like place.
I mean, he was like it was like a prisoner for them, right? Like
Yeah, after their war ended, after the
yeah,
war finally ended, after like multiple seasons, he became a prisoner.
yeah. And then he started to become part of the community, right? And that's where he
Because
finds
Rick wouldn't kill him.
yeah, which was frustrating for a lot of characters, particularly with Maggie. I remember from the recaps I saw. Yeah,
Rick always had weird emotions when it came to killing people. It was weird. Sometimes he didn't want to. Then other times he would just be like, "Fuck it," you know.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of get Rick. I mean, he was a police officer. Like he had that, when you have a authority person, they always have that moral code. Like he wasn't like Shane, where like Shane, like really accepted the apocalypse. Outbreak. Rick, because Rick skipped the whole zombie apocalypse when it broke out, so he didn't really experience that
But he'd certainly caught up and did enough. You know what I'm saying? Once he got in the game, you know what I mean? He did more than enough. Staying alive. You know what I mean? Like, he did more than most.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Rick's been through a lot.
Oh my god! Oh, come on! Like his dead wife in season 3,
He's
and
been
then
through. He's survived more battles and skirmishes and fights and walkers and shit than anybody on The Walking Dead.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, he lost his hand for you know, God's sake, like he lost his hand, and
I wasn't
this
there for that.
yeah. You remember he lost his hand in the spinoff show, the ones who live. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. And that's what happened. My bad.
yeah, no worries.
He lost his hand trying to escape.
Try to escape, yeah, and then after that he renewed with Michonne and his kids, which is cool.
Yeah, and
Uh,
knowing Rick from watching the original show, it's not shocking that he would actually lose his hand trying to escape.
yeah, yeah, and that was a thing from the comics, so it was very cool they did it. So I was like, okay, yeah, I was surprised they did it. That was cool.
Rick was always capable of being a crazy motherfucker.
That's true. I mean, he could gone he could have gone like batshit crazy, whatever he felt like. He was one of those characters, like because he was a father, he was a policeman, so he was always that character where he like he presented himself as a leader and like a very controlled person. But if he had to go that far to the dark side, he could easily done that like in an instant, and we saw that a couple times in the show.
He actually went crazy on the show. Remember, for a while he was crazy.
Oh yeah, remember season 5? Like, like after he became a sheriff in that community, was it Alexandro?
Yeah,
And
remember the prison when he was hearing voices and hearing the phone calls and all that shit that weren't real and all that shit.
Oh my god, yes, I remember that. Yeah, in season 3,
that never went anywhere, but they had that.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, it did give the prison like a haunted like vibe to it. Yeah, I remember that. Oh man, that was a lot.
Yeah, the prison was definitely a scary place. I'm assuming that they probably built that in Atlanta, in Georgia. They probably built that set for the prison.
Yeah,
Um,
have to be right. I mean, like, or they, I don't know, like use a real prison. I think I don't know.
no, they probably built it because they shot the show in Georgia.
Yeah,
in a studio. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Speaking of,
you'd be very lucky to just find some vacant, abandoned prison or something, in Georgia to use for a TV show. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can really find that. Yeah, you have to really go deep for that. No, they had to build that. Yeah.
No, if you ever watch when you see abandoned prisons and stuff like that on YouTube, they're in bad shape. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be able to shoot like scenes in them and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It wouldn't work.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. It's been a couple years since that, like the timeline from the original show. But then, hold on. I think she had Herschel. Like, I don't think Herschel was yet a character in the original show. I think that's the part I'm a little fuzzy about. I think
he must have been, you know what I'm saying, because he was born during the show's original timeline. He must have at some point or whatever. At some point during the original show, they must have shown him.
Yes. Okay. So I'm looking at her like synopsis. So she did give Herschel in season 9. So he was a baby around the time of.
There you go. See.
Yeah, season 9, and then I guess I think with the 6-year jump in season 9, he could have been like a 10-year-old, like a toddler or something like that, like a kid at that time, to leading up to Dead Sea being like a teenager at that point.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we really have no clue where we're at, like, time wise, in Dead City, or Daryl Dixon, you know what I'm saying? We have no idea how long it's been, or no clue.
No clue. Yeah, exactly. It's a little hard to navigate this like crazy timeline. Yeah. So which I'm fine with. I don't need this time period for the show. Just I'm happy where we're at.
What I want to know is where the fuck is that guy with that owns the bar? Where's he getting all his alcohol and his booze? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does he have this like secret cachet of alcohol that he just like serves and like has all the time? You know what I mean? He has all this alcohol.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he had to be like scavenging around New York to get alcohol.
Every
right?
time you see Negan, he's drinking like a Budweiser or something, like like an actual like a real big name beer or something. You know, like he'll have like a fresh one. You know.
I know. I don't know.
Or there'll be like multiple bottles on the table next to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. That part is kind of weird. I don't know if he packed a lot of beer in that apartment when the apocalypse happened.
Oh yeah, it's very possible that he was hoarding like alcohol when the zombie apocalypse happened. Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, so that's the only like reasonable answer I have to give with that character. What's his name? Mason, because I mean Mason just has a bunch of convenient beers he adds, and I guess they were able to do that.
Well, and plus from we know from this episode 3 that he has all the liquor too.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know, but then the question is that. Like, well, no, because I'm thinking about like how Negan is now producing what is it
Oh yeah, are they doing the ethanol again or whatever with the walkers? Are they doing that again? Is that what was going on? Or were they doing that in that episode when what's his name fell in the fucking
yeah, they're still using the methane.
Is that what they're doing at that place where Maggie's living and running the place or whatever? Is that what they're doing in the basement?
Yes, they are doing. Yeah, that's what they were doing because they
the methane or whatever.
Yeah, the methane, because at least the Korak was able to create like a new one for them before he died, and and because the power was like running out, they had to fill it with more walkers, which was kind of crazy. So
all right, so that's what they were doing on the episode. I was wondering what was going on with that. I was like, that looks like the methane.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because you used to with them in like a big container and a tube and all that. Yeah.
I didn't really see the walkers in there either. Like in the water, I was like, "Where's the walker?" You know?
Yeah. Well, because it was kind of hard to like see like either there were walkers because the lighting was all green, and so like you couldn't tell like if there were walkers or not. But yeah. No, that was the main thing.
I thought it was a little bit far-fetched that they had like 140 people in their hospital or whatever at that fucking compound that they live in. You know what I mean? That big building, that was a little bit far-fetched,
I know, but
they had like every hospital room filled with people. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy.
Yeah, but hey, it was 2 groups from.
That's what they wanted, right? To invite new people in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love by the way, I'm a New Jersey person, so it was funny to hear like the 2 groups we got here were Newark and Belleville from the township in Essex County, which was hilarious. So I mean, that was a lot of people that went to the water and to that island of New York. So
it was like 140 people.
Yeah, so most of them were new rivals, and yeah, they're crazy. They were all injured because of this was like a rival group.
Because they got like raided by like a terrorist group.
No. They were attacked because of the Newark group, and like those groups were enemies, so they didn't expect those 2 groups were gonna go to the same island. That was the weird, like, funny part. It's like these were rival groups. They attacked each other before they left. Like they attacked each other.
Oh, okay.
And they were escaping from like the fight they were having. So that's why they were all injured, which was crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why those 2 leaders that Negan was like teasing, and then they.
Okay, with the bat, yeah.
Yeah, with the bat, because those 2 were the leaders of the rival groups, and they were causing problems, and that's why those 2 die in the end of the episode because they didn't agree on peace. So that's why they died. So.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was the yeah, it was like the tryouts of Dark Knight. Like like here like the leader of that community that Maggie's helping. She told them, "Here, you can either join us or you can die by using the weapons they lay in the ground. That those like bays, whatever you call it, ciphers. I don't know what you
Oh
call it.
yeah, for the fields, for the
The fields.
farming.
Yeah, those Reaper like kind of weapons. If you don't want to be part of the community, and unfortunately the leaders didn't agree, so they killed them themselves pretty much.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it took a while until I realized, like, until the one chick say, like, who attacked you, and they pointed out the group that was in the hospital, and I was like, oh, the two fractions.
All right, so we've got to talk about the fact that what happened at the end of the episode, bro.
Oh my
come
god,
on, bro. We got to
Yeah.
goddamn Walker talk.
Walking talk. Are you sure?
Yeah, bro. I went back and watched it again. It was talking.
It was talking. I believe.
I thought about. I was wondering too, bro. I had to go back and watch it again. It was real. It happened.
Yeah.
It was really a walker chained to the wall, and it was talking to the guy.
Talking. Jesus Christ. I guess so.
To the weird fucking creepy bar guy. Yeah, Mason.
Yeah, Mason. Yeah. I have a feeling he's just having, like, he's a crazy person and he's just thinking he's hearing her.
Yes,
talk.
he's like a very crazy person. Yes, he's like a very fucking out there person. Obviously, he has like walkers hanging out in his bar, like talking to him and shit.
Yeah. I mean, if they really
sane people don't do that.
No, of course not. I mean, he was weird, like, from the start. Like, just he thinks he talks to these walkers. I don't know. Has to be something about that walker.
Yeah, it's like very odd to be having actual walkers in your bar, like fucking taped down to a chair. Yeah,
this whole thing reminds me of that little girl from season 4. She thought that the walkers were nice, and like Carl had to kill her, and all, like because she was a danger.
I was like, "Fuck AMC" when I saw the goddamn the little trailer for the next episode, and it didn't even show it. And it didn't even show anything about the walker that talks again. I was like, "Fuck you, AMC Plus."
Oh my god!
Fuck you.
Maybe they're going to surprise us.
Of course, you're not even going to have that happen in the next episode again. Then we're not going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Come on, bro.
Thanks, AMC.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's got to be explained, bro. That's got to be explained.
They will explain it, that he's crazy and that was not real. I just...
No, bro. That happened, bro. It happened.
I need to rewatch it again to just confirm that, but
the mouth was weird and like not lining up to the words at times and stuff like that and everything, but that's because she's a walker. You know what I'm saying? She was making sounds and everything. You know what I mean? At the same time she's talking, she's a walker.
Yeah.
They make sounds, like they make like breathing sounds and shit, even though they're dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dead, yeah.
They make sounds.
Right. I have a feeling, right? I had this theory.
But she was talking to him, bro.
She was. It could be that she's not a walker.
She wasn't like taught to talk. You know what I'm saying? She was talking to him.
Yeah.
She was like, "Baby, stay with me." You know what I'm saying? Like, don't leave me or whatever. Like, I love you.
I mean, true. I mean, we haven't seen the walkers being that smart, so I mean, they could do something with it.
That's a big leap, bro. To have him talking. Come on, bro.
We'll see. I need to see more episodes to see what they're gonna do with that. But yeah, that was weird.
You didn't realize she talked?
No, I thought she did talk, but I'm just being realistic. I just think he's crazy and he's thinking she's.
That was not. That was not. They could, if they wanted to make that into like a manifestation thing, like or whatever, that wasn't real. They could have done that and made it look like that. They didn't do that. That was real.
Yeah, that's true. And also, like,
he's a very bizarre guy. We already know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at when he was talking to Maggie in the episode. In the beginning of the episode, he was talking about like weird, bizarre shit to her that she didn't even like. It was like uncomfortable for her.
Yeah.
He's a weird guy.
No, I agree. He is a weird guy.
So
Yeah.
like,
So
it's not shocking for him to have a fucking walker chained to his goddamn in his room, in his house, you know, or some
yeah.
house that he has or whatever, they can talk. With him, it does not surprise me.
No, no, no. I agree. So yeah, I there could be two ways they do it. They could do it. I think the zombie could be like a smart walker. That's the thing. There has been in movies and TV. There's always been like a one smart zombie. So that could happen with this character, whatever it is. Or I'm thinking this theory that the walker he has is actually a human, but he's going insane and he sees her as a walker and not as a human person, and that he's chained up a actual human in his bedroom. Just throwing that out as a crazy theory. But
Nah, that is a walker.
yeah,
That's
so
not that's not a human. That's not a human.
yeah, I know that, but I'm just throwing this crazy
That's
idea.
like
But anyway,
that's like a very well aged walker. That chick, she's not. She looks like she's very, when it comes to like walker age. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? She looks pretty like experienced. Like she's been around for a minute.
true, yeah,
Right? Didn't she?
kind of. Yeah, she didn't look too decay like some of the walkers we see in his bar. So I can
No, she's
maybe
not falling apart yet. But she's also not in very good shape.
no, no, but
But she's
we'll
still but she's still intact. She still has skin and everything and all that. Like.
yeah, yeah, and you brought up a good point, Jeff, about her movement. She did kind of was trying to stop him to leave the room
Yes,
too.
she actually made a deliberate attempt to like stop to get it to like stay there.
Yes, so I can take that as good evidence that this could be the first smart walker in this universe that has intelligence, and
Yeah,
maybe is
she definitely never tried to bite him at all. You know what I mean? She never tried to bite him or anything, like, or eat him. You know what I'm saying? That never happened.
yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities, but I'm gonna wait and see how they do this character and whatnot. Speaking of characters, I just want to bring up the two new characters. Besides Mason, Louis, Luis and Renetta. I really like those new characters. I actually like them in the show, and I thought they're the highlight of this episode, especially Luis as the doctor. So I like the new characters we have in this new season compared to the other characters we had the first two seasons. They're doing a better job of making me like this show now. I have to say. And
Sure.
and you brought up one thing, Jeff. Over the years we've been reviewing the dead spin-offs, right? Like I like and you like is the survival stuff to see the characters picking
Yes.
up
Yeah, very much.
resource.
The living of the life that when they do that, just like showing how they live. Like.
Exactly, and I like that this season we're seeing that, and I think that's the best part about this new season of Dead City, and I like that, and I like that we're moving away from that new Babylon thing and whatnot.
Yes,
for now,
I agree. I agree. The new Babylon thing was not going anywhere.
Yeah, which is weird. Like, it could have been something, but I just like I don't know. They didn't do it.
It never worked.
Yeah, it didn't work, or realistically, they didn't go like they didn't do anything interesting with those people, really. So, but yeah, and as always, I always love Maggie, and I think Lauren Cohen, who plays Maggie, is great in this season. I love her performance there, and I like her chemistry with Herschel this season. Yeah, they're giving better.
I'll give the episode, like, just because we had a Walker talk at the end, I'll give the episode like a 9.
9. Okay. Yeah, I will give this a 9 out of 10 as well, because I thought this was a good solo episode, a very good filler episode. I have to say, like I was on my seat. There was great intense scenes, and I like what we're doing with Maggie with the community, and her being the leader with this new like side of the community of New York, and I like what we're doing with Negan as well. Like Negan's doing better this season. I like his partnership with
Yeah,
Mason.
yeah. I like what Negan's doing right now too.
Yeah,
He's finding a spot, kind of finding his place.
yeah, it's finding his place. I like his humor. I love he's making his moonshine, which is great. Somehow he's able to make moonshine. I'm like, okay. And yeah, then we got a talking Walker, which is crazy.
Yes,
But
that was
yeah, yeah,
great. I love that.
yeah. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for me as well. Very good episode. Very happy about this season. They're definitely turning around Dead City, which is good.
All right, sir.
So
Let's get out of here.
yeah, let's get out of here. All right, that's our show, folks. House of Dragon and Dead City season 3. Let's get out.